Hello. To continue on in this series of blogs and videos about getting things done, I'd like to conduct a little experiment with you. This is from David Allen's book. You need a pen and paper. First, write down a project that's on your mind. Big or small, business or personal, makes no difference. Something that's on your mind right now. Write it down clearly, what it is. Got it? Good. Now, describe in a single sentence your intended outcome. What's the successful outcome of this? In other words, what would have to happen for you to check off this project as being done? Okay? Now write why you want this to happen. Finally, I want you to write down the next discrete, visible, physical action that needs to happen to move this forward, to move the situation forward, to move towards completion. Got the answer to that? Good. Now let me ask you a question. Was there any value for you in this 2 minutes of thinking? Did you experience a tiny bit of enhanced control, relaxation, focus? Are you feeling more motivated to actually do something, to take that action, do something about the situation? If your answer to those questions is yes, then you had the same experience that I had. I want you to imagine that motivation magnified 1,000-fold as a way to live and work. So what changed in the exercise? What happened to create this improved condition? The situation is no further along, at least not the physical world. What happened is that you acquired a clearer definition of the outcome desired and the next action required. And what created that? Thinking. Simple as that. Thinking, but thinking a different way. So let's look at what David Allen suggests in his book, Getting Things Done. And first, let me just read to you the review on Amazon, their own review of the book. And they say, our ability to be productive is directly proportional to our ability to relax. Only when our mind is clear, our thoughts are organized, can we achieve stress-free productivity. His system teaches us how to identify, track, and choose the next actions on all our tasks, commitments, and projects, and master all the demands on our time while unleashing our creative potential. Now, that's some review, that's some recommendation. The process, as I've said before, is really one of emptying your head and indeed every other receptacle of stuff that you have, and there are these open loops in your mind and open loops in your life, and putting them into a system where you can manage them. Now, stuff can be as varied as I mentioned before, as varied as piece of paper, notes to yourself, notes from other people, emails to respond to, phone calls to respond to, lists of things to do, somebody badgering you to clean out the garage and you made a promise to do it, promises to your partner and kids, financial obligations, and so on. Basically, it's all the commitments that you've entered into, whether knowingly or not, consciously or not, with yourself or anybody else. Once you've collected all this stuff in a system, you then simply have to make a few decisions. So what is it? What needs to be done about it? When does it need to be done? And so on. And remember, we mentioned earlier, David Allen recommends the 2-minute rule. If it can be done within 2 minutes, take the action now. David Allen suggests, and I agree, that you need to be ruthless and regular about the collection, centralization, and processing of tasks and data into discrete categories of actionable items. This means you know what the outcome is going to look like, you know what you're committing to, and you know what the next action is for everything. To do this requires front-end decision making. I've mentioned it before, let me reiterate it. Front-end decision making means that every single input that's presented to you, you take it up and you deal with it and you make a decision. What is the next action? And the action, by the way, might be I'm going to do nothing about this. I'm going to forget about it. I have no interest in it. The action might be I'm going to delegate it to somebody else. or the action might be I'm going to deal with it immediately. Nothing gets picked up and put back down. Everything gets picked up, gets dealt with, and goes into your system. This sounds very, very simple. People say it can't be as simple as that, but it is as simple as that. You convert everything into a next action. In building your system, of course, the goal is to have a system that presents all these actions to you in a way that you need them, at a time that you need them, in a place that you need them, and so on. David Allen in his books goes into a great deal of detail on how to actually implement the system. I'm going to shortcut it a bit for you, even though I've already recommended that you acquire and read the book yourself. But I am going to shortcut in the next video, and I'm going to talk about my own system, how I've taken David Allen's concepts and how I apply them in my own life and in my own business to manage my affairs and manage my life. And I can attest that I have nothing on my mind. It's worth saying this. I have nothing on my mind. I have a system that I trust 110%. Everything is in it and there's nothing on my mind, so I'm free to address whatever's in front of me that needs to be dealt with. And that's where I want to take you to, and we'll discuss that in the next video. Just before I go, I'd like to read a couple of quotes to you on a lighter note that might spur you into action. What we think or what we know or what we believe in at the end is of little consequence. The only consequence is what we do. And the second one is a particular favourite of mine. It is what we do that defines who we are, not what we think, say, etc. Look at your life and ask yourself the question, what have I done? Then decide that the next time you ask the question, the answer will be more to your liking. Thank you.